count, and I will count till 3 and then everybody's opening his mic and say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, good night in your own language. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Good morning.
Goedenavond.
Thera.
Thera.
Okay. That was wonderful to hear. I would like to introduce the people today. I've heard that they are very, very significant. So it's not my words. I heard it. And it makes me enthusiastic because that's Beth Silverberg, who is one of our organizers. She's waving. Maybe you say something because the speaker's view is active.
Okay, yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad to see you all.
Okay, thank you. And then another very significant person, as I heard, and I also agree with that, is Barry Jones.
Hi, everyone. Lovely to see you all.
And Barry Jones is one of the organizers too. And there is also Gesine, but she will not participate today. And then I would like to introduce two support trainers who will be there on the IIT on the UK. And that is Christina Krank. Hi, Christina. Can you show up?
Hi. Nice to meet you all.
Great. And Penny Spofford, you are also there. Can you show up?
Hi, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
There's Penny.
So, and support trainers in the IIT are so helpful. They are the support trainers for the team, and we're really full of gratitude that they are willing to participate and to support all of the people who are participating during the IIT. So, I already told my name, but last but not least, from the very, very, very significant persons in this Zoom room is Duke Duscher. Duke, can you show up yourself and take it over?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Wow, it's so fun to see so many faces here and so many people have joined us today. I'm really excited to have this chance to share with all of you and hopefully inspire joining the IIT in a few months' time in the UK. All right, so we're going to do a little activity to kind of learn together. And so I want to just first kind of check in with you. I want to see, and you can do a show of hands, either your physical hand or your digital hand. Put up, how many of you have ever had someone in your life that said or did something that was not making your life wonderful? Quite a few of you. Okay. Okay. All right. How many of you have ever been in a conflict or a disagreement or a misunderstanding? Wow. Okay. All right. I'm not sure I was expecting this, Beth. What's going on here? How many, this is a really telltale question. How many of you have ever had thoughts, beliefs, or stories about people who have done or said something you didn't like? Okay. Okay. And this is even a tougher question. How many of you have believed those stories or those thoughts, thought they were 100% true? Okay. So this is what we call in nonviolent communication enemy images. When we have a story, a belief, a judgment of someone that is kind of focused on them as a person, the quality of their personhood. And it can be something as simple as being rude or one of my favorite ones, being selfish. Um, so that could be something that we're thinking about that person, and we can believe that those stories are true. And then obviously those kinds of judgments can range, from something as simple as rude to, a terrorist or, a murderer, a killer, or whatever it might be. Um, we can also have those. And I don't know about you, but I'm very good at collecting evidence to prove my beliefs. Um, and so until I came across nonviolent communication, I just thought my stories were true and that that's the way that person was. And of course, I'm not so immodest to not believe that I also probably have done or said things that other people haven't enjoyed, and I'm guessing they had stories about me too. So we're going to use nonviolent communication to kind of unpack this a little bit more in a different way. And for me, the goal is to humanize the other person and humanize myself so that because when we believe in nonviolent communication, when we see the humanity of each other, that we're much more likely to find ways to move forward together that work for each of us. And so what I want you to do is to think about and write down a judgment or a story or a belief that you have about someone else that you would like to explore today. And I want to, it's totally up to you, but maybe encourage you to do something that doesn't have a lot of emotional charge for you, because we're going to move through quicker than I would if it was with someone who has a lot of emotional charge for you. Today, because of our timing, we're going to move through a bit quicker than I might sometimes prefer to do. So just write down a judgment, a story, or belief, just in a sentence or two at the most, of that you have of someone that you'd like to explore today. So I'll give you a couple moments to work on that. And just as an example, I have a person in my extended family who I definitely have judgments about and have believed my stories about them quite frequently. So, and I'll share a bit more about that as we go through the exercise. And this is the fun part. This is where you can just let your judgments come out if you want. And nobody's going to be waving a finger at you for having them. In fact, it's very useful to get them out because they help us to uncover some important things that we're going to discover today. Okay, does anyone else need any more time before we move to the second part of this exercise? Okay, any hands anywhere, Barry or Beth, you're seeing? Okay,
No.
great. All right, so then the next part of what I want you to do is to write down, think about and write down, a situation where this judgment was triggered. So what did the person say or what did the person do that would trigger this emotion? And you may say, well, there's 100 different examples. Because again, if you're like me, you collect all those examples to prove that what I think is true. But for today, just choose one of them, the one that comes to mind, or if there's one that's more significant or more common, then go ahead and choose that one. And just write down what did the person say or what did they do? And in my example, it's my sister-in-law, and um, she had agreed to have dinner on the table for a group of us at 6 o'clock. And the time get closer and closer. 6 o'clock came, and not only was there no dinner on the table, there was no sister-in-law even in the building. Um, and that's one example of where my stories were like, yes, see, it's true about her. She only thinks about herself. She's selfish. So, like that, see if you can identify one, brief example and write down a sentence about what was said or what was done. Give you a minute or two to do that. And if possible, try to be as clear as you can. So rather than saying, when they were rude, if you can quote them or give an example, write down the action that they did that you're calling rude as an example. So being as specific as possible can be helpful for us, especially for the next part of the exercise. And I forgot to mention, but you did have a handout sent around to all of you who registered, and also I think it was put in the chat as well. So for this next part of the exercise, we'll definitely want to look at that, or could be helpful for, at least especially for those of you newer to nonviolent communication, to have that with you. All right, anyone else needing more time to finish off that second piece, writing down what the person said or did? Okay. All right. So now we're going to dive into the heart of nonviolent communication, and we're going to look at this thing called needs. And we're going to try to identify what needs of our own that were not met, because this wasn't making us happy. This was leading to judgments and criticism and blame. So that lets me know it wasn't making me happy. So we're looking for needs that were not met by what the person in your example said or did that you have lots of judgments about. So needs are those things that we consider in nonviolent communication to be the primary motivators of human behavior. So, or another way of saying it is that the needs are those things that when we have them in our life, they make our life wonderful. So in the handout on the second page, you'll see a list of not every single need that there is, but a good number of those needs. If that would be supportive of you to identify some of the needs when this person said what they said or did what they did, what needs of your own were not met. So in my example, some needs of mine that were not met when they agreed upon time for dinner, and in fact, dinner being made at all did not happen, was care, consideration, support, having my needs kind of equal value to my sister-in-law's needs and whatever needs she was meeting, doing whatever she was doing. Um, so those are some of my needs that were not met by what was done in this case, in my sister-in-law not keeping the agreements and I guess another need actually I'm touching on is trust. Trust also. So like that, see if you can identify two, three, four of your needs that were not met in your example. I'll give you a minute or two to do that. And identify as many needs as you need to until you have a sense of like, I think those are the main ones, or I think I've got the most important ones. Okay. In a minute, I'm going to invite Barry to send you off into a breakout room in pairs. And what I would like you to do in your pairs is, in one sentence, just share what the person said or did as one example of your judgments, and then the needs of yours that were not met by what that person said. So we're only going to have, let's see, we'll have about 5 minutes each, 10 minutes total. So I want to not to get into the whole story of, oh, they did this and they did that. Just see if you can just share that one example that you wrote down of what they said or did, and then the needs of yours that were not met by that. And the other, your partner, can sit silently and kind of take that in. If it's helpful, you could invite them to just say back the needs that they heard. Like in my example, they could just say back to me, you had a need for trust and for support and consideration and care. And as that person is saying back your needs, just see if you can see what it feels like in your body to receive that, to take that in. So I will say, when we had an agreement about supper and when that time came up, dinner was not on the table and my sister-in-law was not in the room or in the building, I mean, actually. And with that, these needs were not met. And then the person could say back my needs to me. And while they're doing that, I will just see how that feels to take that in. And just notice if there's any change in you or how you react to hearing those needs coming to you. And also, if you're open, that your partner could guess another need or two if there's something that comes to mind to them. So that's what would happen. And then at the halfway point, we would switch, and then my partner would say their thing, and I would say back to them their needs. Any questions about what I'm asking you to do in your breakout room, in your pairs? Okay, and then when we come back from the breakout room, we'll harvest the results and see how it feels for some of you. I hope you enjoy transforming or translating your judgments into needs. See you in 10 minutes. All right. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had fun playing with your uh, internal judgments, your enemy images of one other person. What I'd like to do is I'd love to hear from somewhere between 2 and 4 people, kind of how you're feeling as you connected to your needs. So did you notice anything change as you kind of connected more to your needs and maybe heard them back from your partner? What happened inside of you as you did that, connecting to your needs and then maybe heard them back as your partner said them back to you. I'd love to hear what that experience was inside of you, from 2 or 3 people, please. Who's willing to share?
I would like to share. I felt
Great.
abundance and peace. Abundance and peace.
Okay. Great. Thank you, Joris.
Mm.
Anyone else willing to share?
I can share.
Okay.
Teresa.
Here's
Um,
a.
it does give me more connection to also the feeling actually. I felt some grief and mourning actually. That's
Mm,
because of we were talking about, and I could be sense more of that.
mm. So from the beginning from when we started to now, the change in you was like you were more in touch with your feelings, it
Yes.
sounds like.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. 1 or 2 other people willing to share? How is it now? And did you notice any change or shift? Yes, Frank, I see you raising your hand.
Yes, so usually, and it's again this experience that you get a little bit more breath if you really identify what is exactly the need. That was, yeah, you breathe more freely. That was the thing.
Mm.
And also there is some lightness, yeah. So I started to laugh at the end a little bit with the whole story, and there's some lightness, yeah. That's also good, I think.
All right. So a bigger, fuller breath and some lightness and more ease inside of you. Great. Great. Okay, we'll take one more. Anne, I see your hand up.
I I realized that I had rationalized and been mental about the problem, and discussing it like this brought me to how the feeling was. Like, how did I actually feel about this? And
Mm.
in addition to sort of not liking what my neighbor did, I sort of justified and understood him, but it didn't change. It didn't change me. When
Right.
and Theresa helped me with that. But I mean, the idea that I could suddenly accept the feelings of it too, and therefore not continue it. I mean, as long
Yeah.
as the feelings were there, I continue with my resentment, or I did.
Right. Yeah. So it sounds like it helped you by connecting to your needs.
Mhm.
It helped you to come out of your head and kind of more into your whole body and being to really experience what was going on for you around this situation.
Yes.
Great. Great. Thank you. So what we're talking about here, we often call in nonviolent communication a shift. That you'll notice some change, especially in your emotional state, from before you connected to your needs to after you connected to your needs. Sometimes it's, a breath or a sense of relaxation. Maybe your shoulders are up here and now they kind of drop down a bit. Or maybe you have a sort of an aha moment where you're like, oh yeah, that's what was going on. That's why I was so upset. Um, so some kind of shift or change in your state of being, your mental state, your emotional state. And that's what we're looking for because that gives us feedback that we've actually kind of connected to the most important or the main need or needs that are alive for us in that situation. It also lets us know that we're now ready to go to the next step of the enemy image transformation process. And that is to begin to make guesses at what might be the needs of the other person in doing what they did or saying what they said. what are the needs of the other person? Because in nonviolent communication, as you may be aware, again, we say all choices, all actions are motivated by human beings trying to meet their needs. So, in my example, my sister-in-law not making dinner at the time that, was agreed upon, that is a reflection of her trying to meet some needs of hers. So, what I want you to do, and we're moving very quickly here for this process, so we want to make sure that we fully receive the shift before we did that. But for today's exercise process, we're going to move a little quicker. And just see if you can identify one, two, three needs that you're guessing the other person was trying to meet by doing whatever they were doing or saying whatever they were saying. For example, in in my sister-in-law's case, her needs were things like choice, freedom, independence, um, connection, fun, play. So those were some of the needs that she was choosing to meet rather than keeping the agreement that she had with myself and some other people. So see if similarly, just take a minute or two and see if you can write down a couple needs. And if you're finding that too difficult, it's okay. Be gentle with yourself. We're moving very quickly here. So what needs was that other person trying to meet by doing what they did in your example or saying what they said? And as you're writing down those two or three or four needs of the other person, just notice if anything, the way you're thinking about the situation, the way it feels, if anything changes in you as you're writing down those needs of the other person. Just noticing. Okay, again, we're moving very quickly, but just want to check, is anyone needing more time? Okay. And then just to close us off for this exercise, let's move to the next part of our time together. I would love to maybe just hear from one person if you noticed anything that changed in you when you started to write down and connect to the needs of the other person. Did anything shift and change? And if so, what was that? Anyone willing to share? Someone who hasn't shared yet, we'd love to hear your voice.
Something I found,
Amy?
oh, hi. Something I found slightly surprising as I went through my imagined needs that he might have felt is that
Mm-hmm.
perhaps his needs and mine were actually very similar.
Hmm. Okay, great. Yeah, can be quite surprising sometimes because you're not the first person I've heard who have said that, is that we're both trying to get our needs met and they might even be the exact same needs, but just doing it in a different strategies to meet the same ones. Okay, great. Well, thank you for joining me in this journey of this exercise. Again, I know it's quite quick, but I'm hoping at giving you a little taster, a little tease of some of the power of nonviolent communication and how it can impact our lives. I'll turn it back over to you, Thera.
Thank you, Jude. I really enjoyed your lecture, your workshop, small workshop, and the impact it already can have by this awareness. And I really enjoyed it. It was really helpful. Thank you so much for that short thing. So you can imagine when we are 9 days together, what of transformation can happen from being together and working on those kinds of subjects together. So, and that's the part we are opening now. Are there any questions you would like to hear you have about the IIT or maybe something else that you would love to hear from us or the organizers? Is my question clear? So, who is sitting on a question? Can be
I
an
have a question.
yes.
So how many people have registered now and how many trainers will be there? Is there any sight on that?
Beth, are you willing to answer that as an organizer? And
Yes, Barry and I were just looking at that. Was it 45, Barry, that have booked?
Yeah, 45, and then with the trainer team and the organizers and the support trainers, that means we'll be around 55 currently in total. Yeah.
And we have a total of 5 trainers, and I will introduce them also. Besides Duke and me, there are also a trainer, Robin. She is living in Romania, and she has a very high standard of sustainability in her life. And what is really touching me in her is her humbleness and the power of her humbleness, how she can live in abundance, in pure humbleness. So that is very inspiring for me. The other trainer is Lillian from Nigeria, and she's living in the UK. And for me, I see her as a very inspiring person in relation to awareness about the impact that a color can have on people. And she is also really aware in the spiritual side of NVC. And then we have Shanti Gabe, who is a British person and who is also very educated in Buddhism. And I found him very inspiring with the way how he's living NVC. And Buddhism is for me a very inspiring part of living NVC in a way that you also connect with everybody around you who is not a Buddhism or is not in NVC. That's the quality of him in my idea. So we have 5 trainers in total, besides next to it the support trainers. Is that answering your question, Joris?
Yes, I have one question. Sorry. I understand it starts on a Monday morning. So, is it possible? I mean, what are the facilities to start for people who arrive? From aboard and will be arriving on a Sunday, for example. Is it possible in terms of boarding and those facilities? Are foreseen? I mean, is it
Yeah,
possible?
Beth, can you
Okay.
Yeah, it actually starts, I think, at 4 o'clock on Monday. I'm just getting the
Okay,
information
okay.
up now. So,
Okay, okay. Great.
yes, dinner is served at 6 p.m. on the Monday. Please arrive between 3 and 5 p.m. in order to register
Fantastic.
and settle in your room. So you don't need to worry too much about staying over on the Sunday night.
Great. Fantastic.
And then similarly, on the leaving day, it ends, formally, it ends at 12 o'clock. And then lunch is served early at 12:15. I'll put the information in the chat, and also when you register, you'll get this information. And indeed, if you need this information before registering, just get in touch.
Great. Thank you very much.
more questions?
I'll ask a question. It's not that important related to the IIT, but when you said that Robin, you used the expression high sustainability, and I didn't understand what you meant by that.
Oh,
Did you mean that she's rich?
no, no.
Humble? 'Cause then you said she's humble. So I didn't understand what you meant by high sustainability.
Thank you for asking it. She is living in Romania in the middle of nowhere with doing everything in a very basic way in nature. And it can be cold. She's often on the Zoom with with a hat, a lot of clothes, and she's putting wood on the fire to keep herself and the house warm. And it's so inspiring to see really living in that way without all the luxury and easy things around us, and still are in that position of so balanced person as I will label her. But that's my fantasy of her. Is that an impression, Anne?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Thank you for asking. Oh, and I see Kate.
Thank you. I have signed up for the IIT. I'd really just love to hear a few words about, NVC inner work and with other people. We've had a demonstration, and also very conscious that NVC for Marshall was also always about social change too, and I'd just love to hear something about that.
Okay, so you would like to be inspired how social change is living in these trainers. Am I right, Kate? Yeah. So I can say something, but possibly Duke, you want to say first something? Or shall I?
Go first, and then I'll add my piece. Sure.
Thank you. For me, social change is to really learn to connect what I call my verticality, my self connection, that I really be connected with my feelings and my needs, and that really own them, and to come outside of that, from that energy field to the horizontality where all the others are living, where I meet others, and to bring from my self-connection and my also spiritual self-belonging to connect with what's alive in others, that they are doing what they are doing, and to really connect with the needs, what they are doing. And my idea, I find it so inspiring when I heard Marshall talking about his connection with people, with tribes, or his connection with Palestine and Israelis. So to really connect how he did that, not from any judgment and not from the opinion that there's something wrong what they are doing and they have to change, but just by connection, the purity of the connection change, not to change it, but transformation happens. So that is something what is very inspiring and where I am more based on. Duke, are you willing to add something, and then we can ask Kate if she's fulfilled?
Sure. Yeah, I'll come from at a different place. I'll talk about the IIT itself. Because social change, as you've indicated, Kate, is a very important piece of nonviolent communication. So we actually in the IIT we have different themes for different days, and one of the days the theme is social change, and so all of the trainers will be offering different sessions about, in different aspects of social change and everything. But we'll also be looking at, systems change around, and maybe things like power and privilege issues, which is also part of social change. So I know I'm planning on offering, and I'm guessing some of the other trainers are planning on offering sessions on those kinds of topics. We also will be setting up systems for the IIT itself, which will be reflective of sort of nonviolent communication values and ways of being in the world. So it'll give everyone who's there a chance to feel like, what is it like to live in a system that, for example, we're used to when we're having conflict, we kind of live, I'm guessing most, if not all of us, in a punitive system. It's focused on who's right, who's wrong, and punishment. We're going to create a different kind of system for the IIT. So you'll get a chance to feel what that feels like to live in that for 9 days. So that's another aspect of the social change and how it's built into the IIT.
Thank you for the clarity, Duke. Kate, how is this landing in you?
Yeah, thank you. That's all good to hear, and I'm looking forward to the IIT. Thank you. Because this is an enormously important part of NVC for me.
Yeah.
Excited to have you,
In the
Kate.
world we're in right now.
Yeah, very touching. And I'm glad to hear it, Kate.
Thank you both.
And I see in the chat there are there is a messaging, the videos from Robin, Lillian, and Shantigabe, what you could look at and to get an idea also from these trainers. Maybe you have time for one question. None. Okay. Barry and Beth, is there something you would like to say or to share?
Yeah, I'm wondering if we might invite people to do a little bit of a wave. So might you wave if you've booked onto the IIT? Just so you can see who else on the call might have booked or who's going to be there. A wave. Beth, please wave. You're one of the organizers.
You better be there, Beth.
There you go, Beth. Thank you very much. Lovely. And maybe give us a wave if you're thinking about potentially coming with no kind of pressure whatsoever. Welcome. Hello, lovely to see you. And if you're feeling really brave, who's come along because they were so inspired by the topic, but aren't going to come to this IIT? You're all welcome, regardless of how you chose to show up. Who's come for a freebie? Yeah, lovely. There you are. Thank you. Lovely to see you. You're all very welcome. Yeah, thank you. Beth, is there anything? Oh, I can see there's a hand up. Maybe that's from a wave. Is there anything you'd like to add, Beth?
I don't think so.
Right, in which case, what I would like to do then is grab the link. So for those people that waved and said, yeah, I'm interested, I'm going to drop a link just in case you haven't seen it, how you can pre-register your interest if you haven't already. And that way you'll get all the information directly into your inbox about future events like this, and so you can contact Beth, Gazina, or myself with any questions. So I'll just take a few moments to do that, and I'll hand back over to Tara.
Yeah, I just want to double check if Kulananda, was it right that you had only your hand for the wave? To double check that you're.
Yes, I didn't put it down.
Okay. Okay.
Exactly.
So that's also again double check to be sure that you're not hurt. Okay. I see Penny.
I just wanted to add my voice to say I was at the Romanian IIT back in 2024, and it was just a very rich experience. And I guess if there's anybody on the fence about doing an IIT, you can expect a bit of chaos, a bit of fun, a bit of deep learning, and lots of connection. And yeah, they're very interesting events to go to. This will be my third one. So second one as a support trainer, first one was with Marshall, and each one is just different, and all of the trainers will bring very different things. And I think it's the collaboration together of all the different types of voices that will just be inspiring and interesting. And there'll be bits you won't like, but that's also part of MVC and how you connect to yourself when you acknowledge that there are things that you don't like. So that, all of it's great fun and learning. That's just what I wanted to add. And Robin was there. And for somebody who was asking her about Robin, she's so much more than her sustainability bit. She's a poet, she's a singer, she's just a very beautiful, lovely soul. And I really hope she makes it, because the flights from Romania are not a given, I think, in July, August. So yeah, I hope, fingers crossed.
So just with the last few seconds, Tara, I would love to also say, just in case anyone waved a moment ago who are thinking about coming and finances might be a barrier for you, to click on the link I've sent, because you can apply for a scholarship. So it really matters to us that we get as many people there, regardless of your financial situation. So if that's you, please do click on the link. Thanks, Tara.
Thank you so much, Barry, for this invitation. And to close, I would like to hear, maybe in the chat, everybody writes in the chat one feeling word or a need that you want that is fulfilled for you. So how do you feel and what need is fulfilled? And we send it when I say send. So have a time to write it. So I say again, 1, 2, 3, and we send it now. Wow, and I heard a request to save the chat. And I think that is doable, Barry, as I expect. And I'm very grateful for all your faces being here, and also looking forward to meet a lot of you in the IIT, and also totally fine for the people who were there and just wanted to join this juicy workshop from Duke. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Hope to see you and meet you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.